to the Today Show Toronto. I'm your host, Jay Stoyan. Thanks for tuning in today. We have a special show today. Actually, we say Toronto, but this show is on Bell, so it goes right across Canada, all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast. So on the show today, we're really excited. So we have a really nice lady on. Wow, she's doing wonderful things for the community, wonderful things for veterans. Her name is Myrna Gillis, and she's the CEO of Aqualitas, a cannabis platform. She's going to come on and tell us all the great things this product does for disabled people, veterans, able-bodied, society in general. So stay tuned. You're watching the Today Show Toronto. I'm Jay Stoyan. We'll be right back with Myrna. Welcome back to the show. We're really excited today. We'd like to introduce from Aqualitas, the CEO, Myrna Gillis. Myrna, thanks for being on the show today.
Oh, thanks, Jay. I'm happy to be here.
This is great. Now, you're all the way from the East Coast, a Nova Scotia girl. So, wow, we love the East Coasters. That's awesome. So, thank you so much.
No, it's a good spot of the world to be from.
Absolutely. Now, I know you're a very busy lady, so I really want to thank you for taking the time to be on the show today. And let's talk all about your platform, Aqualitas. I know our viewers are on Facebook Live right now. I know they're very excited to hear the benefits of Aqualitas. So why don't you tell us a little bit of history, and then we can talk about the benefits too, Myrna.
Sure. So Aqualitas, we're a Nova Scotia-based cannabis company. We were incorporated back actually in 2014. We got our license in 2018. And we produce some pretty amazing cannabis flower here in a pretty unique way. We grow aquaponically using live fish, so we call it living water and living soil. We're an organic producer. We're also manufacture all of the 2.0 products. So we do, edibles and vapes and concentrates, oils, and we work very, very closely with the disabilities community as well as the veterans community. We have a partnership that is very near and dear to our heart with Veterans for Healing. And I think you had Fabian on a while ago, who's the CEO of Veterans for Healing. And, they do some amazing, sort of aftercare programming and clinical work and really a holistic approach to treating the person. And so, that's a little bit about us. We're a producer, but we also are very focused on health and disability and the wellness side of the cannabis.
So you guys go from A to Z, basically.
We do everything. We're fully vertically integrated. So we do B2B, we do B2C, but we've also exported. So we were involved in we are currently doing a PTSD study with veterans in the U.S. And so we've exported to the U.S. Our product. We've exported to Israel, to Australia, to Germany, to Poland. So we really have a global footprint in what we're doing, and a lot of really good R&D work. And in addition to having our cannabis licenses, which allow us to work with cannabis, we also have a drug establishment license. So which enables us to fabricate and package really pharmaceutical grade products using cannabis.
And all Canadian made, right?
All Canadian made. That's right.
Wow, that's just a kicker. Like, that's just great. So tell me a little bit, or tell our viewers and myself, because I'm getting educated as we speak here. Tell us a little bit about the difference between your platform and, say, regular cannabis platforms that you can go to the store and grab whatever you want.
Yeah, so we one of the things that we're really proud about is that we've spent a lot of time on cultivation technology. And when we first got into this business, it was really important. I came myself, my background was in disabilities. I worked with the vulnerable services communities for almost 25 years of my career. And so I wanted to make safest and best medicine. And I was a big proponent of organic. I believe that people that like to consume cannabis very often are looking for an alternative to regular pharmaceuticals. And so they're very conscious and aware of what they're putting in their body. And so growing it in a way that's as natural as possible with as few, chemical inputs and no pesticides was important to us. And so we looked and we talked to different head growers, and our head grower right now, our Jake Ward, he was Canada's Grower of the Year in 2020, had been growing medical cannabis for 26 years, and had some views on things, and I really appreciated the perspective of approaching things with organic. And so, but we have, like, you talk about, we have super organic, because most people that do organic, they would use living soil, which
Mhm.
is you use a soil based medium or a coca coir, and you put amendments in that soil or nutrients. And so what we have living soil, which other organic producers might have, but we have living water, and the living water is what's unique about how we grow, and is we use koi fish, and
Okay.
the koi fish, effectively they excrete liquids through their gills, and that liquid converts into nutrients, and we use the liquid nutrients to irrigate our plants with other macro and micronutrients like phosphorus, potassium, nitrates. And then we take the solid waste, and we also can make nutrients with the solid waste, and we would put that on the soil as an amendment, like a tea. And what we found is, like, that's, people say, well, that sounds really neat, but what's so great about it, in the product and what the end product. And so we've done a lot of research on it, and what we found, first of all, the one of the biggest benefits is our product is so clean. And the reason that the product is so clean is, if you think about it, and you think about, normally, if we do things as naturally as possible, nature has
Mhm.
figured out a way, to create balance and health when you're doing it properly. And so this is a perfect balance between land and sea, water and the plant. And so effectively, the microbial levels, because the plants are so healthy, and
Mhm.
because they uptake only the nutrients they need when they need it, through this process, as opposed to being force fed, they're very resistant to disease. And because they're not done with chemicals, so that environment has to be very, very sterile. And so when you take a sterile environment, and if you put a bad microbial in there, like E. coli or salmonella, it will proliferate. It'll explode, because there's
Mhm.
nothing there to resist it. Whereas when you grow in an organic environment, you have all of those beneficial bacteria, which are effectively make it it's not an environment in which the other microbials can thrive. So the first benefit from our growing system is exceptionally clean cannabis, and we don't irradiate our cannabis. And we can hit every standard in the world, including the most strict standards for total yeast and mold, without any need for irradiation or e-beaming. So that's the huge benefit from this. We've also found that our product quality, in the sense of the terpene profiles and the potencies, are and the yields are better, and especially with the terpenes and the potencies, we know that individuals are very interested in, medical patients, the consistency of the product, and also, the terpene profiles, the minor cannabinoids. And so we've found that it does enhance that, compared to if we were using municipal water, for example. So that's what we compared it to. So really, the big three are: it's cleaner, it's the potencies are higher, and the terpenes and minor cannabinoids are higher.
Wow, that's like a real detailed process. So thank you for sharing that, because you just told us exactly why you guys are different than the regular cannabis platforms that you find at your corner store. You're not a scientist by trade or anything, are you? Because you kind of have to be.
You know what? We were bootstrapped from the beginning. We used our capital efficiency very efficiently, which meant that I had to learn a lot of things,
Wow.
and I did learn a lot, and I learned a lot from my team. I learned a lot, obviously, just from research, and it's important to know, what you're doing. If you're going to lead the ship, you better know, the where everything is and how everything works, and then leave it to the experts. And that's sort of how we've done it. So.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we take a quick break? Because when I come back, I want to talk a little bit about the supply and demand,
Mhm.
your connection with the veterans, obviously the benefits, and just so much more. So on the show today, we have the CEO from Aqualitas. We have Myrna Gillis. She's telling us all about her wonderful product and how her product is separated from all the other products out there and the benefits. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with the Today Show tour.
Are you currently on ODSP? If you're interested in social media marketing, TV production, podcasting, or getting off assistance, please contact Jay Stoyan at 647-339-6847 or Jay at thedisabilitychannel.ca. The Disability Channel, showcasing abilities.
Welcome back to the show. On the show today, we have the CEO of Aqualitas. We have Myrna Gillis. She's telling us all about her wonderful products, cannabis, and how it helps veterans, disabled people, able-bodied people. So what I want to do, Myrna, is actually say I was a client. I found you guys online because this is going to be really helpful to people who are watching, right? So I'm a client. I don't know you. I'm just looking for alternatives. Boom. I found you online and I say, wow, this is interesting. I'd like to explore more or even purchase some product from you. What would I do?
Sure. So if you're a medical patient, you would come to aqualitas.ca, and right away you would be taken to a landing page that says how to become a patient. And so that process is if you're an existing patient, then what that would be is you would refer you would transfer your script from where your current product is at. If you're not currently with anybody, then you would either come in. You would need to get an authorization from maybe your family doctor, or we can help you find a healthcare professional that deals in cannabis to have your authorization put in place. So the first thing would be connecting you with the healthcare professional so that you can get your authorization. The second would be to do your registration, which you can do online with us. And it's just a one-page form. It's very quick to fill out. And then when we have those two documents together, we would send you your client registration number, and you would go on to our platform and you order products. If you were just wanting to browse and see what kind of products that we have and not register or do any of those things, all of the products are there for you to see. And if you're a veteran, there's another, sort of platform that we would put you through, because we would work with you and we would work with Veterans for Healing. And so we would, and because there's some, extra services that are offered to veterans. For example, if you're a veteran, we process, the paperwork for your approval with Blue Cross. If there were any issues with the patient process, ourselves or Veterans for Healing would help navigate that process for you, so that we'll do the paperwork and get things done for you. If you are transitioning and you're waiting for your approval, we'll give you a free bridge order, so you can place your first order. We cover that bridge order for you, so that you're not waiting, so there's not an interruption in your medicine, and that's sort of part of the services that we provide. And then, of course, our partners at Veterans for Healing, they have a whole menu of options, for additional services, whether it's, songwriting camps or massage therapy or counseling or specialists, or, you need some help with other benefits that VAC may be approving for you for living adjustments or things like that. And so it's a really beautiful turnkey white glove service that our veterans deserve, that we try to facilitate. And the other part of it is that, all of our team, they come from a place of real compassion. I think, when you're dealing with our client care representatives, I mean, these are people that, really, care. And I could, tell you dozens of stories of things that people have gone above and beyond, in the sense of trying to accommodate and help, provide support, and not just, that we're shipping product out. This is a whole person, whole team approach, to helping people. And it's, and that shows through. And when we did our, we often, because it's important that we make sure that we're providing good service, we provide client surveys all the time about how we can improve on our service. And one of the things that was interesting is also what they value about the service or what they value about the product. And overwhelmingly, either in the number one or number two position, which is interesting, over 80% picked as the number one or number two reason the organic. People really want healthy medicine, and so that was one of the key things. The other is that the human being on the other end, like we actually pick up, talk to you. It's and you have that time and engagement, and there's a referral process. If other supports you need, we'll refer you to the right people or try to get the right support.
So again, I just found your site. I'm looking at, is there any initial cost if I'm not buying anything? Like I'm just inquiring, I'm asking questions and no, right?
Take a look. You can take a look at the menu. You can call. You can talk to the client care team before making a decision about doing anything. That the idea is that we're here for you. And so whatever whatever questions you have or whatever thoughts you have. And the other thing that we do is we also send out as part of our again client satisfaction surveys. What don't we have on the menu? Is there something on the menu that is gap? What can we do? And the other part of the our commitment, and this is one of the things with the Veterans for Healing commitment on the Vet Select line of products, which are usually in larger formats. So they're usually 30 gram formats, 30 pre-rolls, larger formats. We also, on the core products, make a promise not to be out of stock on core products, and identify, because we know that if somebody finds something that's working for them, that it's really important, to make that those things are in stock. And then we have, what we also do is first release program. So the veterans they get the first look at any new release.
Nice.
And get back. And we say, look, what do you think? Is this something that and based on that feedback, we'll make a decision whether to put something even in production, on scale, or do we put it in small batch production or large batch production based on that feedback. Because what we try to do is, we don't actually try to hunt popular strain names. What we try to hunt is different combinations of either major or minor cannabinoids and different terpene profiles. So you're always going to see, sort of myrcene and limonene and beta-caryophyllene are pretty common terpenes, but we try to hunt out, okay, that's great. We've got those on the menu, but we also have, prazosin and osamine and some of the ones that don't necessarily appear as commonly, to see what combinations of those terpenes and minor cannabinoids might be benefiting, not just what we know about THC and CBD. So we're quite deliberate and thoughtful in our genetic selection to have that variety.
And it sounds like, just from that conversation right there, it sounds like supply and demand is a big part of your operation.
It is, and it's a challenge. We're not a behemoth. We're not one of these massive companies. That we have, endless space, endless resources. I mean, we manage the supply chain very closely, and we also have partners, and so we have other craft growers that we work with, and some of them grow our genetics, some of them grow our own. Most of them are organic. Many of them are under our own certification, and so. What we know is, we're stronger together than we are, sort of in our own little individual silos. And so we collaborate. And that's why we have 3 different brands, and each of them has sort of a different message and meaning. And so Aqualitas, which is water and life, that's our medical, sole medical brand. But we also have Current and we have Reef Organic, and everything, as you can see in our brands, follows a water theme, water and life, because that is our core and the environmental sustainability that it brings. So on the adult use side, we have Reef Organic, which is sort of the coral reef and the treasure chest of the sea. And then we have Current, and Current is current in the sense of a rising tide raises all boats. So our growers, that we all work together and we rise together. But it's also current in what might be new or interesting, or a format that's new or interesting or current. And so those are the things that we also make available to our medical and veteran patients to to help us and guide us as to what, if that supply meets the demand of the patient.
Let's do this. Because I want to, and obviously before we go, this is open to able-bodied people, disabled people, and veterans. But veterans, like you said, come first, right?
Yes,
that's amazing. That's amazing.
For sure.
So what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break because I want to come back and quickly, I want to talk about your connection with the veterans and how that happened and the benefits. So stay tuned. We're talking to the CEO of Aqualitas, Myrna Gillis. We'll be right back. Thank you for joining us today. We have lots of messages on our Facebook. Today, we're in for our last segment today. It's very exciting. Myrna Gillis, from the CEO from Aqualitas, she's telling us all about the benefits of clean cannabis. So tell us about your connection to Veterans for Healing and maybe streamline it a little bit. And then tell us some of the benefits, Myrna.
So the connection, I think what I'd start with is that if you look at the program that the federal government covers in relation to veterans, Atlantic Canada, and I'll start that way and narrow it down to Nova Scotia where we are. But Atlantic Canada makes up about 40% of the folks that are in veterans that are in that program, and that is very significant relative to our population. And what that tells you about our community is that obviously there's a number of veterans from Atlantic Canada that served, and served in disproportionately high numbers to many other parts of the country, potentially. So I think that, and that kind of rings true, to this idea of a commitment to service.
Okay.
And that's very much, I think how that collaborative approach that we do take here in Nova Scotia. And Atlantic Canada and the Maritimes. And so you have a little bit of that sort of spirit of working together and trying to take care of each other, because everybody in the Maritimes or in Canada is a neighbor, right? That's a sort of a founding sort of belief that we have. So with that, we knew Fabian and Jim and the group from Veterans for Healing, and I've known Fabian for years. I met Fabian, would have been back in 2014, and when all of this was coming about, and he was a very good advocate, and I was also an advocate in the social justice space, because my background was originally as a lawyer before I got into cannabis, and so
okay.
I worked in the vulnerable services sector, persons with disabilities, employment, vulnerable services, intellectual disabilities, mental health, physical disabilities, homelessness as well.
Wow.
So that was my background for most of my career. And so, over the years, you would see, people in the community, and you formed relationships, and you trusted each other and you respected each other for the good work that you were doing. And that's really how we came together, and we thought, we're doing good work, you're doing good work. And I think together we would be even better, because, and what I love about their model is, we basically, we give a suite of incredible products and a commitment to service, but what they give is all everything, that would help you live your best life. I think that it's not just about one part of a person. It's about the whole person. It's about your mental health. It's about your family. It's about integrating, into your community and not feeling like you're alone. Because often what happens when you leave service is that you had this camaraderie and community that embraced you and celebrated you, and then then sometimes you feel disconnected when that ends. And so what the beautiful thing about what they do is that that all of the best of what that brings, and all of the best of what camaraderie and support is it continues, and it continues after you've completed your service. And I think that's we came together because we had a common vision. We work well together because we share the same values, and we want the same thing, which is to have cannabis and other support for your health, to lead really wonderful, effective, productive lives, and be celebrated and recognized, and also to be met where you are, at any given time along your journey.
Well, I really commend what you're doing, and I can attest, just because, like you said, I have interviewed Fabian, I've interviewed Vince, I've interviewed Stefan, and all three of them have just said the marijuana, the cannabis is nothing but help. Myrna's organization is wonderful. We're a great team together. So I really thank you for doing this and helping our heroes, right? Because they are our heroes, and they deserve the best treatment. If people want to find out, Myrna, more about your platform, can you give us your website? They can go there, check it out.
Yes, it's Aqualitas, AQUALITAS.ca. It's always a handful. And there's some really neat, if you look around, we've got there's an Eastlink video, actually called How It's Made, which is a 22-minute show that shows our, really front and back house, like how everything is done. And there's some really cool videos on there and on YouTube as well about the aquaponics and how it's done. So, but
if you want to share that link with us after the show, I would more than happy put it on our Facebook page and blast it out.
Yeah, no, that would be great. I'll send it to you after we finish chatting. And look, I want to thank you too for the work that you're doing and the advocacy that you champion as well. I think that it's hard sometimes to amplify your voice when you're at a place where you're struggling. And so when you have people out there that do that for you, and that shine a light on things that really do need to be given their due, and some thoughtful, not just celebration, but also when you're not celebrating, when things are tough, that's when it matters. It's your character is not necessarily reflected when things are great. Your character is reflected when things aren't great.
That's right.
So I think that, the kind of work that you're doing, the kind of work that obviously Veterans for Healing is doing, what we're trying to, to be part of that, and in our way, is really, really important.
Well, I think that's great. And I can only just attest, wonderful job. So I want to thank the CEO from Aqualitas, Myrna Gillis, for being on the show today. Hopefully this interview will help people, because we're going to blast out the edited version, of course. If people do want to continue to comment on Facebook, I really appreciate that. What we're going to do now, we're going to let Myrna go. We're going to come back and we're going to wrap the show. So stay tuned. You're watching the Today Show Toronto. I'm Jay Stoyan.
Thanks, Jay.
All about inclusion and really giving everyone a fair say.
Welcome to the Today Show. This is our flagship show. I am Unstoppable Tracy.
I am Zach Damon.
It is a pleasure to be here. I am excited. What is up?
We have a great show today.
Jay Stoyan here for the Disability Channel, the world's only inclusive channel for and by persons with disabilities.
Get ready to be inspired, everyone.
We have people watching from all over the world, but also all over Ontario.
We also take a concerted attention
in the veterans community.
In moments of stress and trauma, we can get a hold of ourselves.
To help make a difference for people with disabilities, to show people how to love themselves or their disability.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having me, giving this platform for myself and other people with disabilities.
Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this episode of the Disability Channel of Detroit. Please tune in next time.
Welcome back to the show. Just a few updates before I let you guys go. Just remember our December 1st fundraisers for veterans is happening Friday night, Freedom Train in Burlington, $30 tickets. Come on out, have a good time. Bring your spouse, support a veteran. Again, if you want to find out more information on the Disability Channel, you can go to www.thedisabilitychannel.ca, as we do have our new programs for employment programs for veterans starting late October, free. So go online, register. We'd be more than happy to get you involved. Again, I'm Jay Stoyan. Join us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere else. Again, we'll see you next time.